On the 8th of October 2021, Rockstar on their website announced that soon we'll see an official remaster of the legendary GTA trilogy, GTA 3, Vice City, San Andreas. Games that back in the day completely destroyed the market. There was no relevant competition for them, and the players were admiring the high realism of those games. For those times, of course. The amount of reasons for which we fell in love with those titles is simply enormous. Therefore, the news about the remaster caused excitement and euphoria in many players, especially older fans of the series. Finally, they could remember the beautiful old times and play the trilogy with many new enhancements, improved graphics, more matched with the current standards. On the 22nd of October 2021, Rockstar published a trailer of their incredible remaster, and the excitement that many players felt upon reading the announcement evaporated without return. What the trailer portrayed was not the reason to cheer, or maybe it was even too cheery, and that's the thing. It turned out that the new GTA would remind more of the cartoon about Gumball rather than the atmospheric games, which will take a page, or even whole chapters, from their parents. The faces of the characters were almost like a joke, only it wasn't funny. Everything looked as if it was made of plasticine. However, the fans thought that, maybe it don't look that good, but surely the games will compensate for it with, gameplay, innovations, additional portions of brand new exclusive content, some cool Easter eggs, and enhancements in general. To put it short, the hope has not yet died. Not a month after the publication of the trailer, the trilogy was released, and the hype around it went through the roof, but for all the wrong reasons. The remaster, according to many, looked like crap and was being bombarded with criticism from every direction. Not only the players' concerns about the appearance of the characters and textures in general turned out overly accurate, the gameplay, which was the main source of hope, has not been enhanced almost at all. There were barely any new Easter eggs, barely any enhancements, and additionally, literally everywhere, we were guaranteed to encounter glitches, and more glitches. Some missions were even impossible to complete. Everybody was encountering some misplaced textures, lack of hitboxes, spinjitzu streetlights. Basically, the games were flooded with various bugs. It was shocking. What's even worse is that the graphics, which for 2021 standards were pretty mediocre anyway, were nonetheless about as optimized as GTA 4 on its PC release. Lags here, lags there, constant crashes on PCs, the whole spectrum of errors basically. And even if someone managed to turn a blind eye to those 500 various bugs, they could now admire the broken mechanisms such as flying a Hydra or a jetpack. Rockstar further embarrassed themselves when they had to make the games unavailable to play for a few days, because it turned out that those brilliant engineers from Grove Street Games, because that's the studio that put this mess together, forgot to delete a ton of unnecessary files, including a lot of beta content, as well as the songs for which Rockstar didn't even have appropriate licenses. Moreover, this crap cost $60. As a long-standing fan of the series, I felt as if someone crapped on my face with something that I'll never be able to rinse off. There was little doubt. Surely, Rockstar's gone too far here and won't be able to get out of this mud. Guys who were known for professionalism, who were setting standards when it comes to quality in the video games market, unceremoniously destroyed the legacy of the games, thanks to which, after all, they achieved such success and earned billions of dollars. Furthermore, it turned out that the PR team in that corporation should also be fired, as well as the CEO himself, because he publicly started to flood the media with a series of great statements, saying that, "Yo, what y'all on about? The definitive edition is cool as hell. Yeah, there are some minor glitches, but who'd care about that? Besides, we already fixed it." Once I saw it, I just felt like this guy just simply must have somehow missed all the action that was going on with the DE in the recent weeks, because he was too busy counting the cash that came from selling this masterpiece. And yeah, the sales, that was the biggest sensation. Because why did the CEO of Take-Two have the audacity to feed people with this bullcrap in the media? Well, because as it turns out, the definitive edition was indeed a big financial success for the firm. Success that, had the amount of effort put in been appropriate, would have been 100 times bigger. But they just decided to have some rookies to create the remaster. They threw some chump change their way, not having done anything themselves, and then sold it in many millions of copies. Yes, the definitive edition was a very successful business for Take-Two, even despite the fact that the remasters still haven't been even half repaired, and they'll never be. Yes, there were a few patches, but even those were mainly focusing on the wrong things. The majority of reported glitches and issues still remain untouched. we still encounter dancing streetlights, teleporting bumpers, weird noises in the pause menu.
Oh, yeah.
Alright.
Yes.
Completely messed up physics on higher frame rates, atrocious LODs, horrendous camera work while flying a jetpack, and a complete lack of it while flying a Hydra, as well as still numerous spots with misplaced hitboxes or levitating items. And what's the most shocking is that the original games are just so good that even despite all those issues, many players still enjoy playing the remasters. Rockstar and Take-Two can see that, so they're not about to fix anything. At the end of the day, people still play. So the definitive trilogy is actually a really genius move from Take-Two. They capitalized on the potential of the remaster concept and that people simply like to buy games that they used to like in order to try it out with better graphics. The corporation also observed that they already have many incredible titles in store, which are often skipped by many young players due to outdated mechanisms and the lack of compatibility on the current systems. Cause if we get any game of the trilogy from RGL for instance, before we'll be able to play it properly, we have to do a couple of things. Download it, then install a couple of patches like Silent Patch or Widescreen Fix. Find a way to cap the FPF, cause the games freak out on higher frame rates, and maybe throw in some graphics mods like SkyGFX, and that's fine. The installation of those things is simple enough, but you still have to take a bit of time and effort to do it. And if someone is completely unfamiliar with that subject and doesn't feel like trying to explore it, simply won't bother, and to avoid all the fuss, will buy the definitive edition so everything will launch properly without the need for any mods. Take-Two are good at the business thing. Have to give them that. They made a lot of money. They were aware that even if their product ain't going to be of the highest quality, the sentiment, nostalgia, or compatibility and convenience are the aspects that will guarantee them millions of players who will decide on purchasing their remasters. Obviously, on the other hand, had they made the trilogy properly and then advertised it well, they would sell a lot more copies. But then they would have to delegate people that would normally be working on GTA Online or GTA 6. So sure, they would sell more copies, but the question is, would the bigger sales of the proper remaster compensate for the reduced profits made from then little neglected GTA Online? It was just better to hire some rookies to do the remaster and get rid of the competition. What I mean here is that Take-Two, before releasing the trilogy, began to sue a lot of modders that just reassures us that their plans concerning the remasters were not very ambitious. Cause otherwise, why would they sue the modders? They did it to simply get rid of the better competition. It's a shame though that even though they cared so little about the trilogy, they could at least got some better crew to create that remaster, cause Grove Street Games, formerly known as War Drum Studios, is a company that makes mobile games, pretty incompetently too. That studio is, among other things, responsible for creating the mobile port of Ark, which also does not have the greatest opinion amongst the players. And yes, the studio already had experience of remastering GTA, and maybe that was the main reason that they were chosen for this project. But that still don't change nothing, cause the remasters that they were making, you know, the ones on the 10th anniversary of GTA 3 and Vice City, and on the 9th anniversary of GTA San Andreas, those remasters were released for mobile phones and newer consoles, and they did not claim great feedback for a reason. All you gotta know is that, in general, those remasters, and especially GTA San Andreas remaster for consoles, quality-wise, were a proper mess. What I'm trying to say is that should have been a wake-up call for Rockstar and Take-Two. They should have thought about whether it would not be better to find a more competent studio for this project, if they really don't want to put their own hands onto it. Meanwhile, not only did Take-Two and Rockstar step into the same poisonous water here, I feel like they've given GSG some unreal deadline. What I mean is that Grove Street Games ain't even been given a chance to properly finish those games, due to which they got released with plenty of glitches. Additionally, with a reduced amount of weather types and with only one visual atmosphere in the whole map, unlike it was in the original game, where each region offered a different color palette and atmosphere. The cherry on top was a whole lot of beta content that was left out in the game's files. That just further emphasizes the complete lack of professionalism while making this product. Another thing is that the definitive edition has been made based on that sketchy remaster from a decade ago that, as we talked earlier, was not a great success. Because of that, many mechanisms were just simply lazily pasted over from the mobile versions, which then results in things like the fact that you can't move the camera while flying a Hydra, or that while flying a jetpack, the game constantly tries to direct the camera forwards, which makes perfect sense while playing on a phone, but not on a frickin' PC. Like, what did they even try to achieve by not fixing that stuff? Such things have to be revised before releasing the game. Oh, and all those great pseudo enhancements? Now that's a complete misunderstanding. The drive-by system still lacks a crosshair. GPS often draws pictures on your map instead of showing you the actual directions, or greatly innovative weapon select and radio select wheels. Like, come on! A decent modder would be able to implement those features in a couple of hours, and it would probably even work better. And yet, apparently, the developers call themselves professionals. Yeah, professionals my ass. Despite all that though, Take-Two's plan worked out. Granted, even though Take-Two never wanted the definitive edition to be of a high quality, the mess that Grove Street Games glued together was probably even worse than Take-Two expected it to be. Cause then Take-Two had to also invest in fixing this heap of junk. Or rather, like, pretending that they're fixing it, cause that would be a more accurate way to describe it. Either way, the definitive edition sold an enormous amount of copies, at a price inflated at least 50%. Almost all the negative reviews there are still a lot of positive ones, claiming that it was cool to return to the trilogy, cool to reminisce, or for some, that it was cool to try this game out at all. Cause, for example, the graphics in the original versions were not very encouraging for younger players. All that shows how good the original games were, especially at the times they were released, that even despite ruining them to the limits, many players still found them very enjoyable. Which was not because there was a lot of effort put into creating them, but simply due to the fact that the remasters were still portraying the three beautiful stories of the same fascinating characters, and thanks to keeping those games' mechanisms similar to the ones from the original versions. What's also incredible is that Take-Two got so excited about that easy cash grab technique that not long after, they released even bigger garbage, a remaster of Red Dead 1. This time though, they got afraid that there could be a lot of bugs as it was with the trilogy, so they decided that instead of pretending that they actually are going to remaster that game, take it to a newer engine, etc., they just simply ported the game to the newest consoles, and for Switch, removed the 30 FPS cap and voila! Remaster ready. For heaven's sake. Oh, and moreover, you gotta pay $50 for that work of art. The only good thing is that this time, they didn't even attempt to enhance anything, thanks to which they didn't produce 500,000 glitches along the way, so there was not that much controversy. These guys just like to do that sort of thing, which is greatly shown in GTA 5, which was already re-released about 100 times on various platforms. The only good thing is that the enhanced version at least actually significantly differs from the PS3 version. So their strategy at Take-Two at the moment is probably that they're going to release GTA 6, which will probably be an actual work of art, and on which they'll deservedly make a fortune. And then they'll be making money on some lazy remasters and re-releases. So we better watch out, just to not overpay for another lazy cash grab, basing it on our sentiment for instance. Similarly to the pseudo remaster of RDR1. If you enjoyed me reminding you how once you let Rockstar scam you for $60, leave a like as a token of gratitude and watch the video at the top about the most interesting beta content in every GTA. Meanwhile, I'm saying goodbye, take care, and see you soon.